St. Lucie Public Schools Transportation Department, Employee Training and Development. This training session will outline the expectations of two-way radio use. The purpose of this training is to outline the proper expectations of two-way radio usage. Proper radio usage is imperative to the appropriate representation of the Transportation Department. In this training, you will hear proper radio communications, learn 10 codes, and radio navigation. Please ensure you adhere to these requirements. Did you know that all radio operations are required to abide by the rules of the Federal Communications Commission, otherwise known as the FCC? Profane language or obscene language on the radio is strictly prohibited. Excessive lengthy conversations or any chatter not related to business is also prohibited. If you learn your channel is being used to transmit an emergency, you are required to stay off the air. Do not transmit music over your radio or otherwise use your radio for any non-business messages. This also includes making noises or sound effects. And finally, there are penalties issued for violation of rules and regulations of the FCC. Any employee found to be deliberately interfering in two-way radio communications will be subject to disciplinary action up to dismissal for endangering the safety of children. Let's take a look at some radio functions. Each radio has a display screen. This screen allows you to view what channel you are currently on. And each time you press the button to speak over the radio, the screen identifies you with a radio code. Each bus has its own radio ID code. Depending on the year and type of the bus, you may have either buttons or knobs to control the volume and channel. Either way, the functions are the same. And make sure your volume is always turned up and you're on the correct channel. To communicate, be sure to firmly hold down the button. Wait for the beep, then speak. Release the button when done speaking and wait for a response. Let's learn our 10 codes and signals. The most common 10 codes that are used are 10-4, which indicates yes, you confirm the last message. 10-9, which means you need the last message repeated. And 10-20 is what's your location. Under signals, the most common signal that you're going to hear is signal 4, which indicates the bus has been involved in an accident. Let's also review some of the signals that are now required to be reported. Signal 0, which indicates there is a weapon on board. Signal 36, which indicates there is a physical fight occurring. Signal 43, which indicates inappropriate sexual acts between students. And signal 57, which indicates there are drugs and/or alcohol on board. It is good practice to learn them all, as you should use the signals to communicate without actually giving details over the radio. The security department uses the signals in almost all radio transmissions. We're going to take a few minutes now and review the 5 rules of the radio. Number 1, the golden rule, is keep your volume radio up. At no time should you lower your radio volume. There are many occasions where dispatch or management needs to contact a bus, including emergency situations. You need to be able to hear your radio at all times. Number 2, keep it professional. Two-way radios are for business purposes only. You are expected to conduct yourself as a professional at all times when communicating over the air. Please keep in mind that emergency services, as well as other school board employees, can tune in and monitor our channels at any given moment. Number 3, keep it on your channel. There are 5 different radio channels that the department communicates on. Make sure you are turned into the channel for your zone that you're assigned to, either north or south. If you are called to the trip channel or contact the garage channel, make sure you immediately switch back to your assigned channel. Number 4, keep it short and sweet. There are almost 300 buses out on the road at any given moment. Therefore, the main channels need to remain clear to conduct business. Drivers and dispatch need to be able to communicate without long-winded explanations. Keep your radio transmission short, sweet, and to the point. Remember, other drivers are also waiting to get through. And number 5, keep it loud and clear. Often, there is background noise that can prevent a clear transmission. Hold the microphone away from your mouth to prevent a muffled sound. Be sure you are speaking loud and clear in order to get your message across the first time. There are many reasons why we would need dispatch. Remember, anytime you're in need, dispatch is here to lead the way. Now let's meet our dispatchers. We have Jimmy Williams in the South Compound for the AM. I don't want to do that. And assisting dispatch are our tech specialists. We have Max Duckett and Carmen Rosello. This is who you would call your spare bus into and advise when you are running 15 minutes late. Each radio transmission should begin with saying your route number to dispatch. Dispatch will respond with, "Go ahead," and your route number.
2730 to dispatch.
Go ahead, 2730. Every 28 days, your bus will go in for inspection. When this happens, you are assigned a spare bus for the duration your bus is in the garage. Anytime you are on a spare bus, for any reason, you are required to radio into Max in dispatch before starting your route. Remember, we communicate this information to the parents and schools. Again, anytime you are on a spare bus, for any reason, you are required to radio into Max in dispatch before starting your route. Also remember, anytime you are running 15 minutes or more on your route, you are also required to radio into Max in dispatch to advise. We will send out an automated call to your parents letting them know the route is running late. Again, anytime you are running 15 minutes or more on your route, you are required to radio into Max in dispatch to let us know. Remember, students in pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade are not to be released without a known parent or guardian at the bus stop. Again, pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade are not to be released without an adult at the bus stop. Students in pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade are able to get off of the bus with siblings that are in 4th grade or higher. Again, pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade are able to get off of the bus with their siblings as long as they are in 4th grade or higher. Anytime your bus makes contact with anything, you have been involved in an accident and need to radio dispatch immediately, even if there's no damage. Failing to report an accident can result in termination. It is mandatory to report any Signal 4 to dispatch, no matter how minor you think it is. Accidents can happen, and it can be a scary thing to encounter, especially if you have students on board. But it's important to remain calm. Rest assured, dispatch will get you the help you need. Dispatch will advise you to switch over to the security channel and then ask a series of questions as they are calling 911.
2910 to dispatch.
Go ahead, 2910.
I was just in a signal 4.
10-4 driver, please switch over to the security channel. (2910), are you here?
10-4.
What's your 20?
I'm at the corner of Crosstown and Aroso.
10-4 driver, do you have students on board?
Yes, I have 9 students on board.
10-4, are there any injuries?
No, there doesn't appear to be any injuries.
10-4 driver, and do you have a description of the other vehicle?
Yes, it was a white Chevy Tahoe.
10-4 driver, thank you. Hang tight, 911 is on the way. Be sure you always follow instructions from dispatch, as they are relaying important information from emergency services. Once we have confirmed there are no injuries aboard, we will then send an automated call to your parents notifying them of the Signal 4. Sometimes you may encounter a situation where a student on your bus needs medical attention. Step 1 would be to radio dispatch immediately. Step 2 would be to pull over. And step 3 would be to remain calm.
3707 to dispatch.
Go ahead, 07.
I have a student seizing on my bus.
10-9 that.
I have a student having a seizure on my bus.
10-4 driver, is the student responsive?
No, they aren't.
10-4 stand by, do not move the student. Dispatch will ask you a series of questions as they call 911. They also may ask you to switch to the security channel in order to free up the main channel. Always follow instructions from dispatch as they are relaying information straight from emergency services. Again, it is crucial that you remain calm in any type of emergency. Our buses travel many miles across our county every day. Therefore, bus breakdowns are inevitable. When this happens, we know it can be frustrating. Just know Garage does their very best to get to you as soon as possible. If your bus should break down, you should radio Garage first. The Garage channel will ask a series of questions in order to attempt to diagnose the issue. Once Garage has given instructions, then you would go to radio dispatch. Dispatch will ask you if you have students on board and if you need assistance to safely transfer the students from one bus to another. Always wait for dispatch instructions. Never try to switch the students from one bus to another without assistance. Safety is priority. Remember, let dispatch know when you're rolling again. We may need to send late calls out or notify schools. Proper response to mechanical issues are imperative. Drivers have a responsibility to keep their passengers safe, and that includes recognizing and properly responding to mechanical issues on their bus. Anytime a warning light or buzzer goes off, you should immediately report it to the garage channel. They will provide troubleshooting steps in order to diagnose the issue and find a resolution. It's important that you are clear and thorough when speaking with the garage, so the correct attempts to resolve are taken. Here are some reasons why you would need to contact security. A fight on your bus, a weapon on the bus, or any time the safety of you or your students have been threatened. Remember, you can bypass dispatch and go directly to the security channel if needed. Be sure to advise dispatch of what is happening as soon as you can. We may need to send out late calls to parents, contact schools, and notify managers. When using the security channel, keep in mind that this is for emergency situations only, not behavioral issues, but emergency situations. Need directions? That's something else dispatch can help with. They'll do their best to direct you, but in most cases, they'll direct you over to the routing channel for assistance. Remember, each bus is equipped with GPS and map navigation. Also, keep in mind, please allow dispatch to give the directions. Too many people on the radio trying to provide directions can be counterproductive. Allow dispatch and routing to do their jobs. There may be times that you will need to contact another department outside of dispatch. We have our routing, garage, and security channels as well. If you have concerns with your route, you'll need to speak directly with your area manager. Again, if you have concerns with your route, please speak directly with your area manager. And again, if you happen to go to another channel, please make sure you immediately tune back to your south or your north channel, whichever compound you're assigned to. In case you missed it, let's review. Remember, keep your radio volume up. It is important that we're able to reach you at any given moment. Keep your communication professional at all times when you're over the air. Keep your radio on your assigned channel. If you have to switch channels, be sure you switch right back to the north or south. Keep your radio messages short, sweet, and to the point. Remember, there are other drivers waiting to get through. And keep your message clear and speak loud. Learn your 10 codes and signals. There are some extra signals that we'll be using this year. Radio dispatch if you're running more than 15 minutes late. Again, we have to notify the schools and parents. Radio dispatch immediately if there's a signal 4. Again, if your bus comes into contact with anything, you are involved in a signal 4. Radio dispatch anytime you are on a spare bus. Again, every 28 days, your bus goes in for inspection, and you are required to radio into Max to let him know what spare bus you're driving. If you break down, radio garage first. Let them try to help you, and then let dispatch know what's going on. Again, be sure to let dispatch know when you're rolling again. We may have to send out late calls. Radio security anytime you feel your safety is at risk. Keep in mind, the security channel is used for emergencies only. And remember, we are held to FCC regulations and can be monitored at any time. Represent us well. All staff will be held accountable to meet all the expectations set forth by the Transportation Management Team. Failure to meet these expectations may result in disciplinary action. Your training is now complete. Thank you. If you have any questions about this training or any other training, please speak with your immediate manager.